very good CEX. They didn't have very much stuff in the scheme of things, and it kind of smelt the way you would expect CEX to stereotypically smell. I don't often play into that stereotype when I talk about the different CEXs that I go to, but this is one of the rare occasions where it really, really did smell very, very bad. It really was quite a short walk, though. Like, getting to this CEX from where I'd parked was very, very easy. If this was my local CEX, like just the one where I stand in to do all of the videos that I often do, it would have been really, really easy. But yeah, there's just not very much stuff looking around. A lot of front-facing stuff, very small sections. Like that PS2 section that I showed you, very much so small. And weirdly, look, an Alice Madness Returns on the shop floor. That game is usually reserved to be behind glass. It must be around that point that they start cutting it off, because in a minute I go and look behind the glass and there's some like £42 PlayStation 3 games that are hidden away behind there. I tell you though, if you were an Xbox 360 collector, this would be a pretty good CEX though, because there is tons and tons of Xbox 360 stuff, or at least I thought there was. And then I actually looked a little bit closer, and it was mostly just duplicates of just sports games, Call of Duty games, Battlefields, Halos, you know, the sorts of stuff that CEX buy in for a penny and sell for £1. And there's millions of them. I think a lot of CEXs limit the stock of things like that, of how many they're willing to have at any given point, just to try to prevent that from happening. Or if they've got lots and lots of the same thing, like here, they'll just pile it backwards, like The Last of Us Remastered there. But something about the way they set the 360 mod, if they call it a mod in here. At Tesco, we call it a mod. I imagine that retail-wise, that is pretty universal. Just not a lot of stuff. I've seen Crew pop up as a CEX with specific things in decently frequently. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't spot that while I was looking. There is a God of War Chains of Olympus or Ghost of Sparta, the PSP one. But yeah, here you go. Look at all the Halos. There's so many Halos. They had Gun on 360, which is a pretty rare game. Or well, if it isn't a rare game, it's one that everybody that likes that era of gaming should definitely have, because it's backwards compatible, but it's not digitally buyable. It's like King Kong as well, where it'll work if you stick the disc in a Series X, but it's not one that you can just, for example, go and search Gun or King Kong and buy off of the Xbox Marketplace. And then down here we've got the Godfather Dons edition, which we will see again later in a different CEX. Stay tuned for that. On the shop floor, no less, at £62. The Classics HD, Silent Hill, some sort of Metal Gear collection there, I'm not quite sure what that is. But that Last of Us thing for Joel, I could have sworn there was a way bigger version of that, and I didn't. I might have bought that today. That could have been a purpose of today's trip, had I... Alright, back in the car now. Did go into that Asda over there to see if they had any games, because Asda